Well, hello, I'm back. Boy, oh boy, it's been quite a month of work for me. I'm back doing Awake, and I have a great topic for you guys. We're going to analyze something that many of the youth and young adults, I'm sure, are looking at. A young fellow by the name of Wendigoon. He is a vastly accelerating YouTuber. He's gaining lots of subscribers, doing conspiracy icebergs, which is kind of this meme where you go into different levels of conspiracies and other strange, kooky ideas people have and talk about them. He's the info guy. He doesn't seem to give much of his opinion on it. He just wants to give out info and inform people. From what I've seen of his videos, he actually is a believer in God, some kind of Christian, but he's not the type that really likes to analyze and dissect ideas. He just spreads info. And the most recent iceberg he did, which is the conspiracy iceberg, I'll link it in the description below. It's his most popular one, and it's getting him a lot of publicity, is really interesting. I honestly had to take a few breaks because your brain can get frazzled hearing the kooky, strange ideas that can go through people's minds coming from so many different philosophies and alternate media. And I'd like to do an analysis of the different kinds of ideas. I've taken some notes of the different categories of thought that are on there. Uh, there's so much to go into. But my theme of my show will be intellectual integrity, something we're missing very much so in our culture. There is such intellectual narcissism where you think you know it all. You're John Wayne in the intellectual world, and you just spout out whatever baloney theory that you think makes you feel good about the universe. Now, not every theory is wackadoo on this iceberg. Some of it, see, there's different categories because there's different kinds of people. And I'll go into these different categories of thought because I think this is a great reflection of the current intellectual culture of modern times. First, you have the obviously cult slash recreational drug users. Flat Earth. Are you kidding me? Somehow everyone's in on the fact that the Earth is flat. All the governments, there's all other kinds of new agey, strange cult-like material. I just wonder, do people even bother to look into the fact that many of these UFO slash new age cults have used the same ideas and pseudoscientific nonsense for years now? This has always been a trapping of the new age, and yet the same suckers, they have to do is rebrand certain Eastern mystical things, which, by the way, I know about the Eastern religions, and a lot of this new age stuff isn't even that deep. They just take fancy schmancy words and they make up their own thing, or they copy stuff from there. Okay, so there's no understanding of any depth there. But now we're so kooky and whacked out in our head that we have unironic flat earthers running around with their own theories. Now, then there's stuff. This is I guess, my own little iceberg. I'm going from the bottom up in terms of crazy. So we're starting from the craziest to the least crazy. Then there's stuff which is just arrogant, okay? There's stuff, for example, there's this one theory that Jesus was a paid actor or something. He set up the whole thing. It was a big Jewish conspiracy to make it seem like he was Messiah because people wanted Messiah. And yes, there have been other people during the time of Jesus that said they were the Messiah that they never took off, okay? And others also been people that have falsely claimed someone was a Messiah without them knowing it. Just recently, there was a rabbi terribly slandered by a Christian group, and it spread like wildfire that he was part of a cult where he was saying he was an antichrist because of some video of them having some religious experience at the Wailing Wall, and he never said such a thing. It's complete hogwash. And because of slander and hearsay, people just went along with it. Intellectual integrity. Thou shalt not bear false witness. What is going on in people's crazy minds? Okay, so that's an issue. But there's also people that are just arrogant. For example, there's people that have these multiverse theories, and oh, maybe the Bible's made up, and they are arrogant, and they have anti-faith, or they have faith in there being no God for certain. The arrogant atheist, right? Well, if you're so scientific, then you would know about how many great scientists were Christians, even Catholic, right? The Jesuit priests who created the Big Bang. And how is it that these arrogant physics professors can believe in multiverse theory, but they refuse to believe in the realms of heaven and hell? Maybe they have an emotional problem where they really don't want to humble themselves and realize that maybe not every Christian or Catholic is the stereotype, the redneck pickup truck hand waving stereotype. Which, by the way, I don't even dislike those people, because a lot of those people are a lot wiser than all these know it alls. At least they go to church. At least they have families. At least they don't believe in 50 genders. At least they don't believe in the lie of Marxism and socialism. Um, I mean, it's just pathetic. Okay, so that's the arrogant sides of things. Then there's Gnosticism. Now, Gnosticism, I think, I predicted this in my spiritual apocalypse. The New Age will give into even deeper Gnosticism if it hasn't already. Okay, there's a cult online, which I won't even name the name of because it's so disgusting, which definitely takes from this idea that Jesus and Satan are the same thing. But there's all these cults and conspiracies about religion all leads to the same truth, and they're all equally true. Now, that is such an intellectually lazy and dishonest approach. What's the balance here? Are you First of all, you would never go up to a Muslim and say that, because they would be quite offended, or many of these other religions would be quite offended if you said that. Only spoiled Western lazy people in their comfort zone would say such a ridiculous thing. Who this worship of our own self. Well, I can just make the reality as I see it, and all religions have the same. That is such nonsense. Now, do religions often have shared values? Yes, they do. But their conclusions and their definitions and the etymology of their faith makes the faith different. Of course, there's also the fact that they worship different gods and different names. You can't tell me that that isn't the truth. And you would grossly offend if you think me, the big bad Christian, the big evil white man over here, is telling you that this is heretical and apostate. Well, so would all these other religions. If you don't want to listen to me, go talk to people of other faiths, and like a Buddhist, a good Buddhist, will look at you like you have three heads. Okay, the Buddhists do not. They will tell you, no, we do not accept the creed of the gospel. We are a different belief in that. They even have a different conception of the soul. The Buddhists and the people from India and China, Taoism, and there's so much to go into, but no one wants to crack open a book. No one wants to learn anything about anything. It's all just a big, quick tweet, isn't it? Or some whacked out blog post by some dubious person who usually gets busted for child predation or drug abuse. Almost all the time in these cults, you see that's what happens, okay? Now, so that's another form of intellectual dishonesty and integrity. Now, there is one more tier to the sanest part, which is also showing intellectual dishonesty. And that is the intellectual dishonesty and arrogance of labeling anything that makes you uncomfortable as a conspiracy theory and whacked out. You see, there's a balance on the other side. For example, a particular island where a particular uh, group of wealthy people and politicians were doing, let's just say, clandestine operations, is the most controversial conspiracy theory, because the snowflakes on YouTube are afraid of any Democrats getting criticized. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I know what's going on. I know that the feminist who runs YouTube doesn't want to hear this. But why Wendigoon was so scared of mentioning that particular thing that happened that everyone knows happens. Now that is quite nefarious. That is very immoral. To suppress information because of your own bias and to suppress information because it's controversial, because you're too cowardly to. That is not true journalism. That is not true freedom. That is tyranny, and that is immoral, and it is wrong, and you will be held accountable, in my opinion, when you're judged for all the good that you could have done if you had just stayed with the truth. Okay? So there are some good conspiracies. Oh, I'm out of focus. There are some good conspiracies. There are conspiracies that do involve a little bit of investigation. Now, here's something that's interesting that Wendigo and I are scratching our heads. There is hollow Earth theory. Now, hollow Earth, I'm not saying as described to this, but there's a lot of interesting archaeological encounters and suppressed information about certain mountains and caves and ruins that the hollow earthers say there might be something there. Now, is the earth hollow? That is H.G. Wells true? Is he actually, onto something? I don't know. I don't think so. I think there is mostly magma down there. But um it's an it's if you're a good scientist, should be open-minded to the point where he's willing to investigate things. Okay? So hollow earth is not the same as flat earth. Hollow earth may have at least some veins of interesting phenomena that should be looked into. Okay? So these are the categories that I have found on the conspiracy theory Iceberg by Wendigoon. And maybe I hope he can watch the show. It'd be great to have a big YouTuber watch the show. But I'll be discussing that Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. God willing, I'll be there on the Awake Show. Please bring your own thoughts. Please take your time if you want to watch the Conspiracy Iceberg. Take your time with it. Say a prayer if you're a Christian, because your brain get frazzled just hearing the insanity that some people can come up with. So that's it. God bless, and have a great rest of the week, everyone.